Yup, you're an idiot. NFL week. What is this? 10? That was week 10? All right, let's cut to the chase. This junk long overdue. I don't even want to play no games. The Las Vegas Raiders. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Now, I'm going to let my co-host get into why
Clearly not
the specifics as well, but I'm going to start off with talking about my best friend, Josh McDaniels. Me and Josh McDaniels have a long-standing history. We have a long-standing history. Not only did he affected two of my quarterbacks, okay? Not only did he swindle my man Andrew Luck and pump fake like he was going to be a coach for him, but he also did the same thing with Jay Cutler when he actually got the job, and he traded him immediately in Denver because he wanted Tim Tebow. He wanted Tim Tebow, but that's past. Fast forward to today. It's like this guy cannot play with players that he didn't play with or that he's not familiar with. He can't coach you if you're not Jacoby Myers or any of these random running backs he be picking up that was in New England. Then we get to the trade line this year before he gets fired, because we're going to get to the fired part too. And he doesn't make a single trade with this terrible Raiders team. No trade. He has aging assets on his team, a la Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, who clearly had contract issues. You didn't trade nobody. So, mind y'all, this is all under the umbrella of the Raiders being an idiot. Now, I'm focusing on Josh McDaniels because I have a long-standing gripe with Josh McDaniels. This guy, I think he's a terrible head coach. Maybe he can be some type of coordinator or something. But as far as head coach, his track record is absolutely disgusting as far as I'm concerned. With that being said, I'm going to give the floor to my man Charlie, man. What is your gripe with the Las Vegas Raiders, buddy?
So it's funny because I have a whole gripe with the actual organization, like the ownership, Mark Davis and all that stuff. But you brought up so many wonderful points. I did want to piggyback because Josh McDaniels can be this by himself. My favorite story about this whole debacle with Josh McDaniels, I don't know if y'all heard about this, but there was like a airing of grievances meeting. Did y'all hear about this meeting?
I did not.
Mm-hmm.
There was an airing of grievances meeting for like all the players and coaches and everybody to come together and say, what's wrong? What's going on? What's wrong? And it just became a roast session of Josh McDaniels. Like all the players are just like, no, we don't like the way you smell. Your face is funny. Like they was just cooking Josh McDaniels. And then Josh McDaniels tells Antonio Pierce to come up there and speak on behalf of the coaching staff. And he goes up there and he defends Josh McDaniels, and he gives a good speech. He's like, man, we got to bring Raider football here. Got to mean something. I know when I was with the Giants, back in 07, we knew we was going to win that Super Bowl because we believed in that inside that building. Like, and we got to bring that type of belief in this building. And it was like, yeah, and the meeting's over. Everything was good. Everything seemed squashed. And Josh was like, hey, Tony, can you come in real quick? Don't you ever talk about my Patriots team like that again. Don't you ever. Like it's a real story.
That's a real
and right there was the powder keg that exploded everything. He's like, what? I defended. What are you talking about? So players heard about it. They went up to the ownership. It went bizarre. It got ugly, and it got ugly fast. That's just Josh McDaniels. From what I wanted to focus on, Josh McDaniels, especially, you could get this by itself. But so could the Raiders, because the Raiders are notoriously one of the most cash-poor teams in the league. So last year, they wanted to fire Josh McDaniels if they had the money in the bank account to do so. But they didn't. They're cash-poor because, I don't know, they hired coaches like John Gruden for 10-year contracts and then fire him before the contract is up and stuff like that. They do stuff like that. So when they did have enough money, which is reported to be $85 million, they spent that money. They spent $85 million of their hard-earned money to pay these people, Josh McDaniels and the general manager and the other coaches they fired, to not coach their team. These guys are spending more money on a coaching staff to not coach their team than most teams are spending on the entire staff to actually coach their team. That type of logic I can't stand for. There's nothing I can do here. Like, that's idiotic at every level. I love it.
So let me bring this full circle. Like, this is one of those segments that makes me want to cry. It brings a tear to my eye because there is nothing more perfect than the Raiders idiot. Like it really, 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 in a nutshell, is perfect because on top of all the things that you guys named, when they fired these people is also quite interesting, right? So you knew prior to maybe the day before, Mr. Davis, you knew prior to then that the GM and this coach were not going to trade any of your aging pieces as you guys looked like a team that couldn't compete. Why you brought in Jimmy Garoppolo, that's another part of the idiot altogether because I don't know what you thought was supposed to be, especially with what you had going on. But anyway, cool, whatever. You didn't fire them before. You waited till after they did not get you any assets. They did not do anything to bring you value in the future, and you still have the same roster that actually does have some talent on it, i.e., Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams, and then fire them, and you bring in a guy that's trying to prove himself to be the coach so that you can do what? Win games and have a worse draft pick? I'm confused as to what the logic for any of this was.
Ain't no comment.
How do you wrap this up? Like, what exactly did you do here? This is the most complete idiotic situation I have ever seen.
It's real dumb. And like, I pulled this up because this was, I need people to hear this part. Like, for them to get the idiot, they need to understand what they've done since the summer of 2021. Okay, that's not that long ago. Like the pandemic was rolling down. Since then, they have seen their team president resign. They've seen John Gruden resign. They fired Mike Mayock. They fired the new team president. So second team for one resigned, and they fired the next one. They their senior vice president also resigned. They released Derek Carr, and they hired and fired Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler. That's what they did in the last 2 years.
and they signed Jimmy Garoppolo and benched him. So I just want to add that. By the way,
that was vicious. That's vicious too.
The best part of all of that is that after all of this happened, they went out and won a game the very next week. So I guess
two of them. That being said, we're gonna leave it right there. This has been You're an Idiot. This is Soggy Nachos podcast. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Tell somebody about us.
Do it.